My name's Anthony, and welcome to Taking It to the Streets with our very first episode, Killing Kensington.
Welcome to Kensington. Welcome to neighborhood. Welcome to neighborhood.
Welcome to the market, mother.
Kensington Market, without any fear of contradiction, has to be Toronto's cultural hub.
I love the spontaneous music. I love the DIY setups for the stores.
Everybody resonates with the market. Everyone has a story. I think I got my first tattoo across the street in 1997 at that shop.
I got my second tattoo in the same shop. I got it at AC/DC one there years ago.
Nice.
When I was enriched in the Thunder from Down Under.
I love the people, like many ethnicities. That's a bit of a cliche to say about Kensington, but it's true. I also love the cafes. Whenever I come here, it doesn't matter how I feel. If I come here, I'll always run into somebody I know.
Sure.
And with a camera, if I don't know them already, I will once I take their picture. I sort of made it my mission to capture what it was that I loved about the market and how inclusive and diverse and non-judgmental it is.
The market, which has always been an electric environment with its narrow streets, great parklands, and an abundance of predominantly independent businesses, is located on a 27-hectare district.
We've been here for like 11 years at Kensington, 73 Kensington Avenue.
It's a family business.
Yes.
So Longboard Living's been here in Kensington for about 10 years.
42 years.
You must have seen a lot of things coming along.
I certainly have. Yes, I have.
And originally we were in the basement of a house.
Back of a convenience store.
This location, we've been in the market since, I don't know, 1980, I guess. Yeah.
That's when I first started coming down. I was younger, cutting my chops, and figured this was the first store. This was the go-to store. I went through like so many different eras. Like that's what the store's known for. I went through ska. I went through the punk. I went through the rave. But there's always pieces in here that just kind of like the rockabilly. You guys have got pieces that cover everything.
Psychobilly, glam rock. We've done it. We've just about done it all. We do drag. We help people that are transitioning.
Amazing.
And they feel comfortable to come in and maybe try on their first dress or their first more, masculine look, and they feel that comfortable and supported here.
It's a comfortable, safe place for them to start transitioning.
To start experimenting, yes.
From the different characters that all play their role, from the street artists to the entertainers and buskers to the local independent business owners and street fair trade vendors, they all complete the backdrop to the nerve center in the west end of Toronto, right smack dab in the heart of Chinatown. But that's not where it all started. Our beautiful market is enriched with history with many stories to tell.
The market sits on the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the New Credit First Nation. The first European immigrants to arrive were the British.
In the late 1800s, immigrants from Italy and Jewish people, primarily driven from Eastern Europe and Russia by anti-Semitic persecution, they poured into the ward and found affordable yet deplorable places to live. Here they also found other immigrants from their hometown and jobs in the needle trade and in the sweatshops of the local garment manufacturers. Later stalls were built in front of these homes in Kensington Market, attracting Jewish businesses to the area. Many merchants converted the ground floors of these homes into stores, and by 1931, there were 45,000 Jewish people living in Toronto, and 80% of them were living right here in Kensington Market. The arrival into the neighborhood marked the beginning of Kensington Market, which at the time was commonly known as the Jewish Market. Now, the largest group of immigrants to settle into Kensington Market following the Jews was the Portuguese. While the Portuguese had been immigrating to Canada since before Confederation, it wasn't until around 1953 when the Canadian and Portuguese signed a labor migration agreement that larger scale immigrants began to flow in. The Portuguese fish stores still located in the market carried the traditional Portuguese food staples of codfish, sardines, as well as a wide variety of other fresh and frozen seafood. Post-Second World War immigrants to the market also brought large numbers of Hungarians to the area as well, adding to the neighborhood's international feel and flair.
By the late 1960s, Kensington became an incredibly diverse area, hosting to immigrants from all over the world from different races and religions, ranging from Eastern Europe, Portugal, Italy, China, East India, and all of those Afro-Caribbean descents to make it one lovely melting pot. And by then, the market was also home to bohemians and an awful lot of American expats who had fled the Vietnam War, and students who were all attracted to the unique nature and affordability of the neighborhood.
This wave of locals also brought with it the artistic influences of the counterculture and spirit. Now, throughout the 80s, the market still continued to bring in lots of other different immigrants from the Middle East and Latin America, East Africa, and Southeast Asia. And then in the late 1990s, due to the recession, there were several small businesses that were forced to close. One was in 1972 due to Mayor Crombie, who was stopped with his development plans to demolish these long-time neighborhoods and put up a large apartment building complexes. Fortunately, the government of Ontario had responded to heavy pressure from the community and students and activists, and they put a stop to it. But now, the market is under a completely different threat. The threat that just might possibly be killing Kensington.
Yeah, the main change is actually for lease or for rent. That's the biggest change in the market right now. And that's the only seems things to be constant in the market right now.
It's pretty scary, eh?
It seems a lot of families, or middle-class families, or lower middle class, is gonna lose their chances that they thought they had.
It's no great mystery, no better roses, that 2020, 2021 certainly has taken its toll, not only on the general population in the city of Toronto, but also in the province of Ontario and the world globally. From self-isolation to temporary closures to lockdowns, it has had a crippling and devastating effect on every man, woman, and child, mentally, physically, and economically, and everybody is vulnerable.
And then COVID happened, and it was kind of a strange thing that this occurrence had been some sort of battle for some sort of cry out against gentrification, and how this is being taken over in a corporate landscape where property rentals are way too high for businesses to make money in the first place. COVID has fucking absolutely devastated this environment.
It's like it's split the community apart in some ways, you know?
Honestly, I'm keeping business right now just for my employees, for my rent, and for my name.
The smaller mom and pop, less internationally connected businesses are losing out.
So many stores shut down. Honestly, life going crazy. About my business is not before.
Now, we as a community and as society and as a nation have all been trying to do our best and play our part in the stopping of the spread of the virus by listening and following the guidelines to the best of our ability from the health organizations locally and around the world. We've seen different phases of lockdowns and temporary measures being put in place for businesses all across the board.
We have a pandemic. Nobody's doing this because, oh, they like to do this. I doubt that very much. So I know what they're doing is maybe to the best of their ability. But yes, they should know it is hurting businesses. Kensington, we lose close to like 20% of its businesses since the pandemic started.
But there certainly has been an outcry around here of an unlevel playing field of opportunity and revenue from local independent businesses watching their doors being locked down permanently while big box stores still remain open. And while these stores keep their doors open, they're gaining a consistent stream of revenue for these multinational corporation giant companies by order of the government that's coming out of the hands and the pockets of local independent businesses in the community.
Yeah, I think we're working in a paradigm where, you know, a lot of the rules and regulations are built for, let's say, bigger businesses.
Sure.
They're built for the suburbs. They're not necessarily built for small businesses downtown.
The market was already having trouble prior to COVID-19 with the very disturbing trend that's been going on in this city where large corporations, I don't know if I should mention RioCon, but
sure,
I will mention them, where they come in and they get areas of the city rezoned for their own purposes, which is generally to put up large buildings, that condos and whatnot, or large big box stores that really don't serve the communities that they're erecting them in. Plus the cannabis dispensaries have also raised rents, and a lot of people in the market were having a hard time competing against someone who's selling,
dope.
Selling dope, yes.
Now, a lot of the angst and the outcry from the local independent shop owners are simple. Why are all the big box stores having the ability to be open and be deemed essential when half of the vendors in the market are selling the exact same wares and goods and being denied revenue and direct access to their community customers?
Stuff like rent control, some sort of for commercial leases, because there's no rent protection for commercial tenants like there is for residential. that would stabilize neighborhoods. You know, we have right now, there's a lot of speculation for rents, and people, you know, they're flipping properties. So there's no stability in terms of the shops that come in and go. Then this affects over the neighborhood overall.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's to have established long-term businesses contributes to the neighborhood as a whole.
Now, there's been 21 businesses closed permanently. Those are 21 different businesses in this community that had an identity. Those are 21 businesses that had a culture. Those are 21 businesses that had customers. Those are 21 businesses that are gone forever, and those are 21 people that had a dream.
Amazing Salad, Move Frites, North Pole, Torteria San Cosme, Ding Dong Exotic Bed Sweets, Better Living, Search and Rescue, Cosmic Treats, Hibiscus, Crepes Cafe and Bar, Livelihood Project, Maracas, The Fresh Collective, Model Citizen, Pink Canary, The Boat, The Round Venue, and last but certainly not least, Cold Tea.
It's time to take it to the streets.
Brothers and sisters, but I'm so glad to be with you tonight. And all the way I'm gonna tell you a little bit of what I got in my mind.
It's a tough landscape. We need to keep these shops supported. We need to keep the environment going and the ecosystem going, because this is kind of everybody's market.
It is.
And whether we're talking about COVID or other instances in the past that has to do with money or livelihood, music is usually the first one to get hit, and I was not exempt from that. And it was one of the hardest things to do, to shut down my studio in August.
There's definitely been changes. I mean, when lockdown started, it was a bit of a ghost town here for a week or so, and then, you know, slowly you have an increase in traffic as people are you know, coming to gather their essential items, their foods, their meats, their fish, their vegetables. So you know, there are a lot of green grocers. There's a lot of, you know, everything from, you know, cannabis stores to meat shops. So I think that allowed the neighborhood to maintain sort of a steady flow of traffic for local residents, and also as a destination for people around the city. So it's definitely sort of maintained its vibe.
I guess you can teach an old dog new tricks. I've had to go online. It's not I'm a really kind of a dinosaur roaming the earth. I prefer to deal with people one-on-one.
Market mentality.
Yes, and I prefer to have conversations with my neighbors rather than answering, is this purple dress purple online, right? But we do what we have to do, and we want to stay, so that's what we're doing to keep alive. And so we're on Instagram, we're on Etsy, a lot of different platforms, Toronto Facebook Marketplace, wherever we figure someone might be interested in us. And also we just want to remind people that we haven't closed.
Basically, you do a lot of deliveries. So you can call if you know the product you normally buy in the market. You just call the store, talk to the owner directly. You might be fancy and on the internet and stuff like that. Some of these guys have been here long and they're not all that familiar. They don't navigate the net with the persistency that some people may think. So you could call their phone, they'll answer. And you know, the products that you're accustomed to, just order it. He'll pack it and have it for you waiting outside.
Now that the COVID started, if you're not on the internet, then it's very tough.
You know what? I think we have an awesome outdoor market. Unlike, you know, being in the grocery store or at Price Club, you have you're in the open air. It's easier to you know, get things you need and also have a cool experience. And you know, if you are afraid, you can always, you know, stay home and order your groceries online or however else you need to. But I recommend, you know, coming down, checking it out, getting some cool things and making it part of your day or your week.
Well, I believe in reality that the small stores are really the only ones that should be open during a pandemic, because we know how to control our crowds. You can have a couple people come in at the time. The bakeries know how to do it. The butcher stores here know how to do it, you know, with one or two people. And whereas in the big box stores, you get huge lineups of people that are waiting in line for things, and it's
cattle.
It is somewhat scary. To me, I would be much more afraid to go to a big mall store outside of the downtown core than I would be to come down to Kensington Market.
You know, I would say it's just as safe to go, you know, one or two people into a small shop as it is to go, you know, into a Walmart where there's another 1,000 shoppers with, you know, another 50 employees. So yeah, it is relatively safe. It's as safe as anywhere else in the city. And I think the small business owners here are extra careful because they are the faces of their business. You know, they're not a nameless corporation. They have to be more careful.
The small businesses can open, but they can open extremely safe, and if given a chance, extremely safe, by actually just manning the front doors and let the customers come and choose and look through and ask what they want. But I don't think that is what the government is trying to achieve. They're trying to achieve where nobody comes down. That's the goal by staying at home. So flexible a policy, I don't think they would apply.
The government programs are there, but it's hard to navigate them if you're new. You know, your payroll probably isn't as big, your books may not be, you don't maybe have a chartered accountant, where the rest of us who are, you know, you're doing everything yourself. We have a lot more help and a lot more resources to these programs.
As challenges, not all hardship mean to kill you. Some meant to make you stronger. And this is a time that we should use our ability as Homo sapiens to think and diversify, because we are to outsmart the virus. And some measures or some discipline is going to hurt more than others. But if we all stay alive, you know, it'll be better. But it may pay in some gains to do that, and I swear to God, it hurts. It hurts financially, it hurts emotionally, it hurts socially, it hurts in every aspect. But so I hope that these sacrifices that all the businesses and all the people of Ontario, Canada is making really pays off in the end.
The Kensington market has been here for us our whole lives. It has a rich history and a rich heritage. And it's been here for us, it's shaped us, it's shaped generations of people. And now Kensington market is hurting. And are we there for it? Are we there for the people in the market? Or are we just gonna turn our backs and just say, hey, you know what? It's the survival of the fittest.
Well, it certainly has been a bittersweet experience today, walking the streets of our beautiful market, speaking to some of the local artists and some of the local independent shop owners. It's such a great existence to be graced with the presence and have wonderful conversations with all the colorful people and the artists that make up this microcosmic society. As for the pandemic, one can only hope that this year is going to yield some forward direction with progress, positivity. The bitterness is that all that I can hope and pray is that we don't lose too many more of the local independent businesses in the market area that are the backbone and the true spirit of Toronto. Now, Kensington Market is the hub in our city, but every city has their Kensington Market, every province has their Kensington Market, and every country has their Kensington Market. Without any fear of contradiction, we're still going to be keeping on consuming and buying goods. And if there was ever a time to be paying serious attention to which direction we're going to be channeling our funds, the time to pay attention is now. Before you go out and start going to the big boxes and whatnot to buy and purchase whatever it is that you deem essential, try and make a conscious decision first to try and support your local Kensington market in your area and direct your revenue and your funds into the pockets of local independent businesses that make up the backbone of your community. I mean, let's face it, a lot of these big box places are going to still be around after the pandemic and the storm is through, but a lot of these small independent places will not. All you have to seriously do is sit and think and imagine a world of not having these places around in it anymore. With Black Donnelly Media, you've been watching Taking It to the Streets, Killing Kensington.